Not quite loud enough. Here we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Ira Bowman. You are joining me live, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Welcome to the show. What is this all about? You might be asking, well, look, twice a week, I run a show called Ask Ira. This is Job Seekers Q&A. So basically, if you saw the description of the show before you popped on, then you know what this is about, right? You can ask me all kinds of questions. If you have a question for me already, go ahead and pop it in the comments, because I promise you I will get to it if you put it in right now. So welcome. As you're doing that, I'm going to scroll through and do all the highs and hays and howdies. Welcome, everybody. I do suggest that you also put in where you're from and what, if you're a job seeker, what type of work are you looking for? Because I have a lot of recruiter friends. I have a lot of business owner friends. They join the show. Catherine McCord helps in this space. She's not a job seeker. She's somebody that helps job seekers. So I appreciate having her here. So tell us, where are you from? What are you looking for so that we can help promote you in the audience? This is free. She's busting my chops already. As you guys know, if you watch me on a regular basis, I always start my shows out with fun music. I find them on YouTube. It's all free. They've got a whole directory of stuff that you can use, so I love it. Looking forward to tomorrow. You betcha, man. I've got a couple people who have emailed me, Foster. They're excited that they're like, I didn't know you were going to be part of this thing. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. Search for You Inc. is Foster Williams' company, and he's putting on a networking event for job seekers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He's asked me to be a guest tomorrow. I'll be there right about 7:30 in the morning, my time. Breathe easy, folks, in Dallas. That's 9:30 your time. So I will be there. Hello from Norway. Hello, Kettle. We've got Shimiso. Is that how you say that? I apologize if I butcher any of your names. It's been a while. I've been doing pretty good. I got laid off, in full disclosure, in June. So that was kind of a bummer, but I launched my business, which is Bowman Digital Media. And actually, I've been doing pretty good. Just got a new client to sign up today. It's one of my friends. It's funny. He was my first client. I'll actually announce this live. He was my first client, Bowman Digital Media, had me do his website. And now he's just hired me again to run his social media, or at least to help with his business social media efforts. And I appreciate that. So I'm doing pretty good. Bienda, where are you looking for that for? If you're looking remote, it's okay to say remote, but you should probably tell us where you're from too. Sometimes people like that. From Poland. Very good. There you go. Okay. And I do get jobs in Poland on Project Help You Grow. So if that can be a blessing to you, go ahead and use it for free. Joseph Wyman is looking for software development roles. Hello there, Robin. Nora, I'm seeking renewable energy. Okay, what type of work? Is that engineer, or you might want to be a little bit more specific there, just in case anybody's curious, okay? Worked in aviation as manufacturing, production, or project planner. Cool. Okay. Look at all these comments coming in, guys, and this is what it's about. Look, I'm going to tell you, I have suggested questions in the show description. That's why I referenced it earlier and didn't finish my thought. Here's the thing. One of the things that most job seekers are not doing right is they're not putting enough effort into their social media networking. Now, let me explain what I mean by right effort, because there's a couple different ways that you can do this. You could simply share your resume or CV, which is a mistake. And I'll explain why in detail in a minute, but don't do that. Don't just like make a post and say, here's my resume, can you please share it? Because you can actually hurt yourself far more than you can help yourself. So the potential damage is much higher than the potential net gain. Can you land a job that way? Yeah, you could. I don't want to discount the fact that you could land a job that way. But if you network my way, you're gonna increase your chances a lot more, and you won't damage your reputation, which would be good. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Other things we could talk about: cover letters. Should you include a cover letter every single time? 6 months ago, my answer was different than it is today because the market has changed. So I say, yes, do that cover letter, but I'll give you the formula. I'm actually going to write an article and in it build not a template. I don't like the word template for cover letters because each and every cover letter should be different, but I will give you a formula of how to build it the Project Help You Grow way, the Ira Bowman way. There's a million different ways you could do it. But I'm going to give you my strategy on it and the thoughts behind it in the article. I actually just got done reading an article, writing an article about the ATS. I gave an analogy on LinkedIn the other day about the ATS treats your resume like a jigsaw puzzle and kind of illustrated it that way. Then I talked about the ATS and the complexities of it and compared it to the United States with the border, the national border lines, the state lines, the county lines inside the states, and then even the cities inside the counties, and tried to illustrate how the ATS programs, which if you didn't know this, there isn't one ATS. It's not like a universal program. ATS is an acronym, stands for Applicant Tracking System. Okay. But the software developers that write these programs for a variety of reasons, and there's thousands of them, are all different because of copyrights and trademarks and all these things, legalities. They can't just go and say, hey, I'm going to borrow, from Oracle, Taleo, or whatever program they want and go, hey, they do that really well. I'm just gonna use the same format. They can't. That would be copyright infringement. So they have to make their own. And because of that, there's thousands and thousands of variations in the different programs, and there's thousands of programs, ATS programs out there, and some aren't even publicly traded. Right? The companies have created their own ATS. So for you guys as job seekers, it could be really, really tough to understand what it is you should be doing. And that's where my articles try to help you figure out some of like the universal standards that even though there isn't other than what I've put out. I mean, jobscan.co and Top Resume and some of these other websites have written articles to kind of give you hints, but there is no like one universal place where we can go, okay, this is the authority. This is the governing body of the ATS. So follow these standards and you're going to be 100% safe. The best thing to do if you can is to reach out to the HR people or the recruiter for that company and say, hey, what are your guidelines? What are your standards? What can I do to make sure that when I send you my resume, it formats correctly? You can read it. There are no disqualifications because, my formatting was bad. So we'll get into that too. Yeah. Let's see. Hello, my name is Albert. I'm from Armenia, looking at any remote opportunity, sphere of VoIP, digital marketing, social media, account manager, customer. Okay, that's a pretty wide circle. So hopefully you can help. One thing I'm going to suggest to you, and I'm not trying to be rude, so let me say this with the utmost respect. You need to update in my personal opinion now, professional opinion, you need to update your profile photo, your Ab, and I can look at your profile for you later if you want, because I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm trying to help you out. Profile photos for job seekers, you really should have, and it's not your attire. Your attire is fine. Your background is fine. Here's the main problem. The face should be facing forward, so look into the camera, and you really want to have it more close up. So you want to have like what you can see on me right now, shoulders and head, zoom in as much as possible, and then, try to smile if you can too. I know in some cultures that actually is tough because in some, like, I'm going to give you an example. In India, if you smile when you do your professional picture, they don't take you as professional. So you do, and I think that's true in the UAE too. So there are areas, geographical areas you have to kind of gauge that. But in the United States and the UK, my recommendation is to smile. Okay. So, but definitely look into the camera. It helps you to not be aloof. You actually want to use it in honesty, it's kind of a psychology trick. You want to help them to understand that you're friendly, that you're going to be professional. You're not going to be a culture pain in the booty when you come and join their work force. You're going to fit in, and all those things help. Okay. Hi from Maryland. Maryland is a great place. I actually was born in Maryland. You may or may not know that. I was born on the East Coast. Research statistics. Okay, this is what Valerie's looking for. Very good. Zambia, which is West Africa, where company trades gold. World supply wide. Okay, so Davies, let me help you out here. This is a job seeking show. If you are trying to sell people in my audience, I will boot you and block you. So don't do that. We're here to help job seekers find jobs today. What is your way of networking? Okay, great question. First question of the day. What is my way of networking? My way of networking is about relationship building. So instead of coming off as desperate, look, everybody on LinkedIn or social media, depending on where you're finding me, is there for a reason. Most of us on LinkedIn are there, to either find a job or find clients or to help, establish our brand, to get a message across. So we're all here for something. That's inherent, and that's okay. If you're a job seeker and your main thing is to find a job, if you make connections with folks and get to let them see you as a person. So it's not the situation they see you, and they get to know and like you. The natural human interaction is to try to find ways to help each other. That's the natural progression. So what I encourage people to do is to seek ways to help others. Because when you help somebody else, unless they're just totally self-absorbed and totally selfish, they're going to try naturally to find ways to help you in return. It's like if I give somebody a referral to their business, most of the time, I'm going to get a referral back. May not be immediately, because not everybody's always in that position. And that's okay. I believe you reap what you sow. So what I'm saying with all of this is, when you share your resume, let's just get to the question a lot of you are thinking, why not share my resume on LinkedIn? Why is that a bad idea? Well, there's a couple of reasons why it's a bad idea. First of all, if you don't understand how the ATS works, then you don't understand why that's a bad idea. But if you do understand how the ATS works, you'll understand that you're not going to keyword match on a random job with a random resume. You have to read that job listing. You have to keyword match where applicable. I'm not asking you to fabricate or lie. But look, if you're looking for a job, let's just go here. Okay. Next person, engineer, master candidate, and renewable engineering. Okay. Energy. Perfect. You put up your resume that qualifies for that. 3 different job listings. You're not going to keyword match for any of them, even if they are looking for electrical engineers. Here's why. Because they're going to use different terms in their job listing. I'm in sales, or I come from the sales world. Okay. When I was in the sales world, a lot of people would call it a sales position, but some people would call it an account manager. Some people would call it an account executive. And if they're keyword matching and I use the wrong term, then I don't match. And I know that sucks. I get it. It's not great, but it is what it is. So you can be pissed off that you don't like the robot system that does the screening, because there's so many different candidates applying to all these jobs. They had to have a way to screen out, and filter to find the best ones so that they could interview. And that's how they do it. Should it be better? 100%. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be better. I'm not saying I like the ATS. I'm just saying when you learn how it works, you make adjustments, because you can not like something and still work within the system while they fix it, right? Okay, so that's one problem that I have with sharing the resume or the CV. It's not an effective way to enhance your chance of landing that job. It actually can disqualify you from landing that job in the future, because you go to apply for it, they've already got your resume on file and go, this person's not qualified. And that's the end of it. Okay, here's the other thing. And many of you don't know this either, which is fine. That's why I'm here to share and help. LinkedIn does not want you to share your personal information on a post. They don't want you to share your emails, your phone number, none of that stuff. It's about privacy laws, guys. They can get in trouble. They can get sued for you doing that because somebody else takes your information and shares it and sells it, and then you complain. You go, I don't even know how they got my email and phone number in the first place. Well, it's because you shared your resume 2 years ago, dude, and it had all your information on it. I know because I got people who share their resumes on Project Help You Grow, and then they email me six weeks later or a month later and go, I didn't realize that you could Google search my resume. Really? You just published it. You published it publicly. What did you think was going to happen? Okay, so they restrict that. So when I take your resume that you shared as a post and share it because you asked me to share it, guess what? I get in trouble by LinkedIn. They could take my account away. I know people who have lost their account because they shared too many resumes, and the resumes had all the private information. If you want to share a resume, if you really want to share it like that, what you need to do is strip all that stuff out. Strip out your email, strip out your phone number, any private contact information, take that out. I don't know what good that does you at that point, but that's what you need to do. That'll keep you safe within LinkedIn's requirements. Okay. So again, hopefully I've answered this question. It's an important question. And the question was, what's my style of networking? My style of networking is to build relationships, not to create sales pitches. So don't come out of the gate with a connection request that says, can you help me find a job? If you do that to me, what I'm going to do is send you a pre-typed response that I have saved in a Word document. And it says, I offer 100% free job search assistance on projecthelpyougrow.com. I will not connect with you. I will not respond anymore. That's a one-time shot because you just want to use me. I'm here to help people. I help people every single day. But I'm a human being, and most people are, right? So treat us like human beings. You know what I'm saying? Don't start the relationship with a beg or a position of desperation, because most of us will be like, whoa, you know what I mean? It's too much. It's like trying to kiss somebody that you find attractive the first time you meet them. Can you do it? Sometimes they'll let you, but most of the time it's not effective. And that's the same thing with networking. When you come across too aggressive up front, asking for things up front, it's a tough sell. Much easier to ask for help later after you establish a friendship. But what I find, most of the time, you don't even have to do that. You network with somebody, what I call my way, the right way. I think it's the right way. You establish that friendship. And most of the time, you don't even have to ask for the help because they like you now. They want to help you. Oh, you don't have a job? Hey, you know what? I know so-and-so who's a recruiter for that type of work. Let me see if they can help you out. Most people will be your champion without you ever even having to ask. I get a lot of leads for Bowman Digital Media now. I've never had to spend a penny in advertising yet. Not yet. Not one single penny. And most of my clients are either directly my friends, like Joe Stepke, the finance guy. Joe, the finance guy. He was my first client. He's also my latest client sign up, right? He's my friend. I also have clients that are referred to me. Sheila Jones refers people to me a lot. You know, Erica Warfield, Mike O'Connor, on and on. Some are my clients. Some refer me clients. I don't have to beg them for help. I promise you I didn't send them a message connection request saying, hey, I see that you need a web designer. I would like you to hire me at Bowman Digital Media to create your website for you. I've never once sent that direct message or connection request message. Okay. It's just not the great way to do it. So hopefully that answers your question. I probably went a little bit too far with it, but that's the point. Greg can tell you. I'm willing to help people out. I really am. I help all kinds of people out, even when they're being snarky to me. Had a guy last night on one of my articles. In fact, it was a post about don't use PDFs as your default resume program. And let me explain that, because a lot of you guys are still doing that. You don't know that. You think that the PDF is the way to go. There are thousands of ATS programs out there. There are hundreds that will accept a PDF, but there are thousands that won't. So if you default to a PDF, you're running the risk the majority of ATSs don't accept it. The newer ones, most of the newer ones do, and the ones that are cloud-based do. But here's the deal. Here's the main problem. You don't know unless you've asked. Or in the job listing, it says send a PDF. Then you're okay. Yes. If it says send a PDF, you're perfectly fine to send a PDF. Here's the issue. It's something called parsing. And I don't want to get too technical on people, because I don't want to speak over people's heads. But the issue is the PDF format. What people like about it, it keeps it safe. It locks the format down. It can also be a shield that keeps the ATS programs from being able to read it. What you don't know, at least statistically, you don't know. Some of you might. And if you've read my stuff, you do. The ATS programs, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, most of them, will take your resume and they're going to break it apart. So let's say it's a cake. It's a finished cake. It's going to take your cake and break it back up into its ingredients. So the flour, the icing, the sugar, the food coloring, the yeast, all of that stuff. It's going to break it back out into the ingredient form. And then it's going to recreate it in a standardized form. So when the job hiring manager, recruiter, HR person reads the ATS compilation of job seeker candidate profiles for that, they all are standard. So nobody has an advantage. And that's what people don't understand with the ATS is not in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not an ATS. I get this question all the time. People think that, because they put their resume in a PDF on LinkedIn, that LinkedIn is an ATS program. It's not. Applicant tracking system is when you apply for a job, and it goes from the moment you apply to the moment you're done with your new hire paperwork. And anywhere in the middle, you can be dropped off. First interview, second interview, background check, drug screen, whatever. You might decide, to just go away. That happens. Sometimes people accept a job and then they don't actually show up. Employers get ghosted too. So do recruiters, by the way. Recruiters actually get ghosted a lot. To their credit, they're usually not bitter about it, but ghosting happens both ways, unfortunately. So here's the thing. A guy put a snarky comment on my post about that last night at about 11:30 or whatever. And he's like, well, he actually swore, which is not a good idea. He swore. And he said that he didn't believe me, basically. And I said, well, that's fine. You can believe whatever you want. I wouldn't have believed it either until I did my own homework. And that's why I try to tell people, because it's not something that is common knowledge. So then he was like, well, let's go through it. And I'm like, well, you do your homework. I've already done it, man. I'm not interested in doing this again just because you don't believe me. But I did respond with a link to Top Resume. They had written an article, and I put that actually in the body of the post, that PDF post now for people to read if you're interested. And they explain, basically the same thing I do. Why it's a bad idea to use a PDF. But anyways, as I was doing that, he was then like going through the comments and making a bunch of other asinine comments, and I just deleted them and blocked them, and goodbye and good luck. But I do try to help people even when they're not friendly to me, I think is the tangent that I was off on there. Does anybody have any questions? I'm looking through this. There's a lot of comments, which is awesome, where you guys are from. We've got 24 people on our LinkedIn right now, so that's cool. We've got a couple. I know we've got Catherine McCord on here, and we've got Foster Williams. Those are two professionals in the job search, career search space. So it's not all just job seekers. And of course, I'm on here too. So if you guys have any questions, I'm here. Let's talk. Cover letter, resume, interview tips, transitioning from military to the civilian world, or changing job, careers, you're doing this and you'd rather do that. You have a question about, working abroad, sponsorship, networking. What is it that you'd like to talk to? Hey, it's my pleasure. I just got this comment. It's my pleasure. I do this twice a week. I do this on Mondays, and Mondays it's noon Pacific, and on Saturdays the crowd actually looks like it's going to be a little bit bigger. That's at 9 a.m. Pacific. I do it on different days, different times to try to help people when they're available, basically. So mix it up. So if not PDF, what then? Well, there's two options for you. Neither of them are sexy. Just have to remember that this is not a visual graphics contest. This is an information contest about your qualifications for the job. So you want to use either Word, text files, RTF, anything that's like basic, right? So I use Word. I actually have an article that I've written. I'm going to share my screen for you real quick. And which one is it? It is, I think it's this one. Let's see if this works. Nope, shared the wrong one. Sorry about that. Hang on. Let me share the other one. Okay, it's that one. Sorry. Okay. So here is an article that I wrote. It's called ATS Screening Strategy, How to Earn an Interview. This tells you how to set up your resume, right? But then last night, I published this on LinkedIn. So let me just get these out of the way. It's called How the ATS is Like the USA. In this, I talk about even more what you should do, how you should set things up. In here, I talk about each company, well, kind of. But I reference to that article that I just showed you right here. Okay. So let's just go to the answer. There we go. It's right here. Okay. So file format. Here's the answer for you. I'll put this in the comments. File format you should be submitting. So docs and doc are from Word. You can create those in Word. A text file you can create a bunch of different ways. You can even create it using Notepad. But that's what you want to use as your default. Now, again, if an employer or a job listing says, hey, send me the PDF, let's presume that they know their own system, that they can accept and parse is the most important part, the PDFs. Or it could be that they don't even use an ATS system, and so they do prefer PDFs. If somebody's not using an ATS, they're going to want a PDF. I actually, on Project Help You Grow, won't even accept, I won't let you upload your Word resumes. I'll only let you upload PDFs for your safety. But again, that's not the same thing, because Project Help You Grow, even though it's a job board, is not an ATS. An ATS is an applicant tracking system, not a job board, not LinkedIn, not Career Builder, not Indeed, not ZipRecruiter. Those are not ATS programs. Okay. So I get it that the world of job seekers, for the most part, is uneducated on what the ATS is and how it works. That's why I post what I post to help. But you have to understand there's a lot to it. It's complex. Again, you really should, to understand the ATS much more, you should just read this article. I will show you how simple and how complex the ATS is all at the same time. The ATS is an acronym. It stands for Applicant Tracking System, and that's like with no lines in it. And then you have the different programs. That's like the states. And then you have inside the programs, you have all the different variations, the customizations that can be made inside each and every one of those programs. And then the job listings are like the cities. Even inside the counties, every job listing is going to be different. Why? Well, and I tell you in the article, but I talk about it because some of them might say have knockout questions that others don't. Some might require an exam. Some might ask you for a PDF, since others might not. I mean, it just and the keywords obviously are always going to be different. So there's complexities. You're talking about one job listing from one company that may or may not be using an ATS. And if they are using an ATS, what ATS are they using? I mean, there's a ton of different variables in there that you just don't ever know as the job seeker. You can ask, but even still, then you'd have to know, like, let's say they're using Oracle's Taleo. You'd still have to go look up Oracle's Taleo and understand all the different rules. What fonts do they accept? What formats do they accept? Have you ever done that before? I have never once talked to a job seeker that has. And I've been talking to job seekers every day for the past 3 years straight. Never once have I talked to a job seeker who even knew what Taleo was. And that's the #1 ATS system in the United States. And guess what? It's not even used by 20% of the companies out there that are using ATSs. The #1 program is less than 20% of the market share. There's a lot of variables. There are a lot of companies out there. Anyways, I want you to succeed. So the guidelines that I've given you are the most universal standards from doing the research that I did. And just in case you don't know, I did a 2-month deep dive. I researched the ATS from the ground up for 2 months straight and came up with a bunch of these. Now, some of the things are evolving. For example, the new cloud-based ATS programs, most of those do accept and parse the PDFs because they've identified that's an issue. The problem is a lot of people don't use that because that's expensive. And I don't know if you paid any attention, but the economy is not doing very well. So a lot of companies are not spending money on new programs right now. They're working with what they got. They're older ATS programs. Primarily, it's true. Primarily, the older ATS programs are the ones that struggle the most with the PDFs. The larger companies like your Googles and your Amazons, they're going to have the newest stuff. You're going to be fine, right? But you should check. Don't just presume. But I'm just telling you that's the way it's really going to work, okay? I had to transition over to LinkedIn. Oh, well, that's okay. I'm happy to have you on Facebook or LinkedIn, brother. YouTube too. Let's see. Do you recommend handling the cover letter with the same advice you gave regarding formatting of resumes? Would you recommend using T-letter format in cover letters? Okay, so I would recommend that you use the same when you say formatting as far as like font types and keyword matching. Yes. My advice for cover letters is to kind of keep it simple, but I do want one thing. It seems so obvious to me. Now, look, I have a 20-year plus career in sales. So I do know that I think a little bit differently than a lot of people because of that training. But here's the one thing I'll say. Your cover letter, you should be asking for the interview, like in the wrap up. So section 1 is introduction. Section 2 is, why you want to work for the company. Section 3 is going to be, how you fit with their company based on what you know about yourself and them. Make a case. 4th paragraph is a wrap up and ends asking for the interview. Most people don't do that. Doesn't need to be, 6 pages. Really shouldn't be more than 1 page. Should be 1 page. You could fit 4 paragraphs. Thinking about word count, somewhere in the 200 to 250 words max would be my advice. And again, I will write an article, Scott, on this and lay it out clearly. There are a million different ways you could do your cover letter. And it's not as rigid as the resume, which is cool. The reason why I recommend doing 4 paragraphs and not more, and not doing like long diatribe, is because of fatigue. They are just over inundated with candidate stuff. So save the good stuff for the interview. You can expound ad nauseum in the interview because they really do in the interview want to see you, that you're excited to work for them. So that kind of, expanding on on the topic helps them to see that you're excited. So there's nothing wrong with that, which is why, again, I recommend people go in with pre-prepared questions for the interviewer so that, again, they see that you're actually interested. And this is not just you flying by the seat of your pants, or if they offer you the job, great. If not, you'll move on. Like you really, really want to work for them. Show them that. Hopefully I answered your question. Word document only. It doesn't have to be Word doc. I'm not getting paid by Microsoft. I mean, you can use anything you want. Just use a text or a doc type file, right? So whatever the Mac equivalent is, and I forget. It's funny, I grew up on a Mac. And then I graduated high school and got a real computer. And I've been using Windows stuff ever since. But yeah, you could use it. It could be anything. It just not a PDF. You don't want to send like a JPEG or a TIFF file or whatever else you might want to send, right? Are Indeed? No. Okay. Indeed and ZipRecruiter are not ATS programs. In fact, I already said that on this show, but welcome to the show, LJ. Indeed and ZipRecruiter are like Project Help You Grow. They're much, much bigger. I mean, Project Help You Grow is a micro site, a niche site, if you will. It's mine. I own it. Full disclosure that, I'm the owner and operator of ProjectHelpYouGrow.com. But and I actually have a partnership with ZipRecruiter. They backfill my job board so that, if you come to Project Help You Grow and you're looking for a job, and let's say you live in Des Moines, Iowa, and you go, waiter, waitress in Des Moines, Iowa. I might not have anything, but ZipRecruiter probably does. And so ZipRecruiter will backfill the jobs if there's nothing there for you native on Project Help You Grow. And I actually appreciate that. People go, well, why don't I just use, ZipRecruiter and not Project Help You Grow? Well, there's a lot of advantages to Project Help You Grow. If you want me to go through those, I will. But number one, you don't need an account to use Project Help You Grow. You're not going to get any spam. There are no ads. There are no fees of any kind for not only the job seeker, but also for the recruiter and the employer. It's free for everybody. And I don't sell your information to any third parties. And a lot of these companies do. They make money by taking your registration information and selling it to third parties, which is why you start getting spam. You sign up for a job board and you start getting spam from all these other companies. You're like, what the heck happened? Well, what happened was that free service they offered you was really just a way to, for them to make money. I don't do that. Never have, never will. Okay. So no, Indeed and ZipRecruiters are not ATS. Again, an ATS stands for Applicant Tracking System. And what it really is, it's a way for the recruiter, the HR, the hiring manager, whoever's in that process, to track all the applicants for the job from the start of the job listing to them onboarding the candidate who's now their new employee. It tracks everybody, not one person, the whole group. Where are you at in the process? These people submitted their resume for consideration. These people had the first interview. These people had the second interview. These people have had their background check, the drug check. They've done the pre-employment paperwork. They've turned in their, W2, not W2, sorry, W9. Yeah, the W9 stuff. Again, it's the whole thing. That's what an applicant tracking software. Indeed and ZipRecruiter don't do that. They're job boards. They're portals for you to find a job, and for they're actually more interested in the other side of it. The companies and the recruiters who are paying them to help find you the candidates. That's why they don't charge you the candidates. They're charging the companies, and that's what makes Project Help You Grow unique from them. Is I don't charge the other side. The recruiters and their employers are listing their stuff for free. They're able to find the candidates and connect with the candidates and hire the candidates without ever paying a penny. No money exchanged ever for anybody. And that's the difference. But anyways, they're not ATSs. And Project Help You Grow is not an ATS either. I write about what it is, but it is not one. Mac has pages, but you can't export it to a doc file. Thank you, whoever you are, for answering that question. I couldn't remember what it was called. It's been a long time. A lot of times, even if candidates are interested in requesting for sponsorship, they're still not considered for the roles. Could you throw some light on how to possibly overcome sponsorship? Yeah. Welcome to my show. We talk about this all the time. Okay. Number one way to get a sponsorship right now, transfer internally from one location to the next. So what I say is, if let's say, looks like you're from India. If you're in India and you want to go work in London, okay, what I want you to do is find a company that you can work for locally that has an office in the location that you want to go work for. So in my hypothetical, India to London. So maybe it's Boeing, could be UPS, could be anything, really. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Pick the company, JP, Chase Morgan, whatever. Okay. You find a company that has an office there locally that you can work for. You're legally able to work there. You don't need any sponsorship. You don't need anything. You just need to show up and do the job. You work there. You go to HR and you say, hey, HR, I really want to work for our company in the London office. How do I go about doing that? Can you help me with that? Go to your boss and say, hey, you know what? It's been my dream to work in London. I know we have an office in London. How would I go about getting a transfer from here to there? And start working your internal channels. Most major companies that size have what they call internal recruiters. You want to go to that internal recruiter team and say, hey, I work for you already. However, I would really like to transfer into this role over there. What's cool about that is now you already are a known commodity to that company. You're not as big a risk. They know you, they know your work ethic. A lot of times in those situations, they will consider not only sponsorship, but also paying for travel and moving expenses to get you back and forth. Hope that helps. That's the number one suggestion that I have for you. Are you able to provide a good example of a CV cover letter? I am. Not on this show today, but I'm about to write an article. It will be ready later this week. So what I would say is if you're not already following me on LinkedIn or following Project Help You Grow, you can just go to projecthelpyougrow.com and bookmark that as a favorite. I'll have it up later this week. Today, I will have the ATS is like the United States article reformatted a little bit and up on Project Help You Grow later this evening, probably by midnight California time. So it might be Tuesday for some of you guys, but I will have that up probably within 24 hours. But the cover letter one I will have up probably by Friday would be my guess. So, and Sarah, you can send me a DM if you like, and when it's ready, I will shoot it to you. Okay. Got some questions from my friend Sabrina. Okay, so if you have relocated or are considering, how do you recommend networking? Let me read your question above. If you're applying on a company website, this is where you would send Word because that's going to go into their ATS. So if let's say you want to work directly for, I don't know, pick a company, it doesn't really matter. Google. Maybe that's a bad example because you could send them a PDF, I'm sure. Let's say you want to work for Bowman Digital Media. Now, I'm not hiring, so this is just an example. But you want to work for Bowman Digital Media. You go to Bowman Digital Media's career page. There isn't one, but let's say there is. You would go to the career page, and you would say, you know, fill out their form, which is probably a WP form in this case, and you put it in an attachment. You would put a PDF. Well, if I download that and put that straight into my ATS, which is what a lot of companies will do, that's where you run into your problem. So where having a PDF would make sense, if the job listing on the company website said, please only send PDFs, then for sure send a PDF. Or if you want to load, like I said, on Project Help You Grow your profile, that's going to be a PDF. But you don't have to worry about that because a person in that case would be coming and pulling it down. They would be extracting it manually. And then they should know if their system doesn't accept PDFs, and they should convert it for you because you didn't apply to the job. They're having your resume go through their system. So they should make that adjustment for you. But so like on LinkedIn, on ZipRecruiter, on Indeed, Career Builder, any of these websites, they're job boards. If you're going to have a profile and save your resume, I recommend you have a PDF there. So you have to understand the difference between a job site board and an ATS through a company website or through a random recruiter, right? Like if you read the job listing and it's going to the email address of a recruiter, you still should send them the Word. Most recruiters will tell you that's true. I have a few that, their only experience is PDFs. So they still prefer PDFs. But most of us know that Word is the way to go. And it's all about parsing. I know everybody's worried about formats and it's going to change my formatting. What you don't understand is it's going to change your formatting anyways. So to answer this question, I'm not 100% sure what you're saying, but let me give you some advice for, let's say, like right now, I'm sitting in LA, and let's say for some reason I wanted to move to Chicago. I don't like snow, so that's probably bad. Let's say I want to move to Miami. I like the sun, baby. Come on. So let's say I want to move to Miami. All right. No offense, Chicago. I like the sun. Okay, so I'm going to Miami. I want to move there. What I'm going to do, one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to look for groups on social media that are from that area. And I'm going to start joining them. And I'm going to start engaging in those. The other thing that I probably would do is start looking for friends or professional network partners that I have that are from that area and start asking them, hey, can you help introduce me? And that's how I would get started. The other thing that I would do, if I can, if it's physically and financially possible, I would try to visit often. I think it's naive to move to a place you've never visited. So go there, and don't go there as a tourist. Check out rush hour traffic. Which direction do you want to live from downtown? Because if you're smart, you're going to try to live counter to the direction of traffic. These are the things that I think about, man. I think about the nuts and bolts. Where are the shopping centers? Where are the churches? Where are the schools? All that stuff. That's the things that I think about. Most people, when they go to visit an area like that, they go like a tourist. I'm like, you're not going to live in the hotel. It doesn't matter how good the hotel is. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, it's even when I moved to Vegas. You know what I mean? I wasn't hanging out on the strip. That's not where I'm going to live. I'm going to live out in the city. So I need to know, again, traffic, crime, education, the quality of education, like neighborhood to neighborhood in Vegas, the schools vary a lot from like really awful to kind of awful. There's no good ones. Sorry, Vegas. Love you, but your school system sucks. And I'm a product of the Las Vegas school system, just so you know. In full disclosure, I suck too. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Visit groups, social. That's how I do it. So we don't need to use Word on Indeed. So no, you don't need to use Word on Indeed. And here's why you don't need to. Because they're pulling your resume down. They should know if they can't accept a PDF. And they should fix it for you. Now, will they? Maybe not. But there are risks to having your resume in Word on an open board. Any job, okay, any employer, any recruiter can pull that thing down. Whether they're a scam, unprofessional, professional, you know what I mean? Like, there's a whole range there. So there are risks, inherent risks either way, is what I'm trying to say. I can't envision myself actually putting my resume up anywhere. I just can't, because I understand that unless I write the resume for the job listing, I'm not going to look, when they stack you up against all the competition, you're not going to be number one because you didn't write the resume for that job. Somebody did. So they're going to be the number one. I like to finish first. I'm not interested in coming in third or last, right? So I'm not a huge proponent of sticking your resume out there. Can you find a job that way? Sure. But I talk to job seekers every day, and I I can't even tell you the last time I talked to somebody who was just randomly discovered because they had their resume sitting somewhere. If you're watching the show and you've got a job like that in the last year, the floor is yours. Tell me. Because as far as I know, it just doesn't work. It hasn't changed. You just lived in a hole. It was the same for me 18 months ago, long before your 6 months. Okay. Want me to prove you wrong? I love dealing with smart asses. I love it. Here's how it's wrong. You're wrong. 18 months ago, the economy was actually great, record level great across the globe, Kyle. And 6 months ago, we had a pandemic and the economy went. The number of unemployment, the people on the unemployment line went from the single millions to over 40 million in a matter of 2 months. And that started 6 months ago. You're wrong. Case closed. Anyone else? I mean, look, if you don't like me and you don't like what I've got to say, then just go somewhere else. That's fine. I'm not telling you I'm the only game in town. You can get help from wherever you like. But the fact is, if you're so ignorant that you can't even see how it changed 6 months ago, that might be why you're still unemployed after an 18-month search. You're not doing something right. I can help you figure out what that is if you are open to the help. But if you're obtuse, I can't help you. Project Help You Grow was never about me finding people jobs. It was always about me helping people figure out what they were doing wrong so that they could learn how to fix what they were doing wrong and get the job. The world isn't fair. The systems are broken. 100%. And I get that people like Kyle are probably just really, really tired. They're fatigued. They're burned out. I get it. I can empathize. I can sympathize. But you also have to be smart enough to know that the system is what it is, and no singular complaint is going to fix it by itself. What you have to do, there's two things that have to happen congruently at the same time, right? We have to make the adjustments that we need to make for today's world, which is different today than it was 7 months ago, whether you like it or not. And we could find ways, opportunities to highlight the things that are broken. Like, for example, I think it's ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous, that all ATS systems, all of them, don't accept a PDF when that has been the #1 document type. Man, I can't even remember the world without PDF. I can actually, but you know what I mean? It's been a long, long time. I went to college in Silicon Valley. You know what I mean? I know a ton of software developers and program writers, coders, whatever you want to call them these days. There's no reason why these PDFs shouldn't be acceptable. But what I think should be and what actually is they don't line up. So I can like stick my head in the sand and be obtuse and go, I'm only going to use PDFs and not get the job for the companies that don't read the PDFs. Or I can make the adjustment, whatever the adjustment I need to make. I can just make that adjustment and find the job faster. That's what I advocate. That's what the show is about. Sorry if I was too hard on you there, Kyle. Kind of thinking maybe I was, but maybe not. Your comment is really dumb. The world is way different. I mean, I can't leave my house yet. I still have to have a mask. I haven't left my house for work since June. When's the last time? Well, you're unemployed. That doesn't, yeah, I get it. Maybe for you, it hasn't changed much because you've been unemployed the whole time. That's possible. But the world around you has changed a lot. Way, way different. Way, way different. The number of employees at companies across the board, their remote workforce, the way you get interviewed. You don't go in for interviews right now. Did you know that? 6 months ago from today, it was not common for anybody to interview remote, not on a large scale. Now, you can't find hardly anybody doing in-person interviews. That's just one of the changes. Again, a whole ton has changed. If you can't see it, you're not looking. Oh, yeah. No, I'm glad you clarified. Yep, you're 100% right on that. You should be using a Word doc anytime you are applying to the job, unless the listing inside, and I think you said Indeed, so I'll use Indeed. If you're on Indeed or wherever, definitely use the Word doc for the application when you're submitting. So you went fishing. You rewrote your resume to keyword match using a job board or direct on the company website, either place. You want to use Word unless they say otherwise, if that makes sense. So your default is Word or text or Pages, as it turns out, from Mac. All right. I'm looking to see if there's any more questions. This is good advice from my friend Foster. Job seeker networking groups in your area can be a huge help because, now this is networking as a whole. If you get to know people and they get to know you and you show them that they're like you're a real person, like I'm a real person, for better or for worse, for all my gruffness or whatever you want to call it. Like I'm a real person. You can irritate me and I can irritate you. It's fine. But I'm here to help those who need it. I'm trying. When people see that about me, even though I'm not perfect, they're still willing to help me and vice versa. Right. So when you go and get involved in these networking groups, you not only can meet employers, recruiters who could potentially hire you, you can also meet other candidates who can be your eyes and ears. This happens a lot. Somebody says, "Hey, I've got a job." Here's a perfect example. This happened to me just the other day. Somebody tagged me in a post. So it was not somebody that I knew, but somebody put out there that they were looking for a recruiter job. One of my friends tagged me in the comments and said, "You should, consider following Ira. He puts up job seeker tips every day." And so, I saw the comment. I actually know one better. I said, "I know Kelly Robinson from Pan Nose is actually right now in the process of expanding her recruiter team." So I tagged her in the comments of that same post and said, "Hey, Kelly, know anybody looking for recruiters right now?" Tongue in cheek. The lady that I never met, because she met somebody who knew me and they took the time to tag me, and I took the time to tag Kelly, now has an interview for that opening this week. That's the power of networking groups. So hopefully that helps. What are some job search strategies when looking for job post sites like Indeed, Glassdoor, or LinkedIn? I'd need a little bit more information on that, but I will tell you one thing is actually read the job listing multiple times before you apply. Do not ever use a standardized resume for every job, even if they're similar in nature, because you need to keyword match. Don't use PDF files as your default. These are things that I've talked about today, and I would recommend using a cover letter. Hopefully that stuff helps. Okay. If you're interested in how to spend your day, I've got a blog that I wrote, and I'm going to pull it up here in a second. It's basically a how to spend your time block schedule. So here I'm gonna switch to it. There we go. Let me pull this down out of the way. Okay. So block schedule for job seekers. So one of the things that you guys might need help with is, how do I spend my time? You basically, if you don't have a job, I contend that your job is finding a job. So 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, basically, I would ask you to, spend some time really working on finding a job. But inside of that, I've got different tasks for you to do, and I give you suggested time blocks, not only on what to do, but how much time to spend on it. Again, this is just meant to be a help. You can adjust it however you see fit. And anyways, it's there for you. This is an article that I wrote a while back in March of 2020. So this really, to Kyle's point, this was before the world changed 6 months ago. This is might need to be updated a little bit because I haven't gone back and changed it for the the pandemic and all the things that have changed since the pandemic. But anyways, still a good idea. If you need it, it's there for you. It's free help. So check it out. We are right at 1 hour, and I usually do this show for an hour. However, I want to make sure that I answered any of the questions because I said I was going to answer them all if you got them in right away. So if you have asked me a question in the comments that I somehow missed, I'll give you about 3 minutes to put that question in the comments and I will get to it. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off and call it a day because believe it or not, I've got other things to do. And I do this on my lunch break. So I've got to get back to work. I run 3 companies now, which is interesting because I didn't think that this is how my 2020 was going to go. But that's how it's gone. So if you've got a question for me, I'm here for you. Also, don't forget, if you haven't already put in the comments, where are you from? What type of work are you doing? That would be helpful for you guys too. Okay. So let me know. I don't see any new comments coming in. If you're going to put a question in the comments, you might want to let me know hey, Ira, I got a question coming. Otherwise, I'm going to cue up the music and we're going to call this thing a day. In fact, the music is cued already. So you're welcome. I don't know. It's not showing me who you are. So whoever you are, thank you. And thank you, LJ. And again, if you guys have forgotten, I will be on with this guy, Foster Williams, tomorrow. It's 9 o'clock Central Time. I actually will be there about 30 minutes later. They're going to do some housekeeping stuff. So I'm not going to bug them for that. But then I'm going to be talking about LinkedIn. I'm going to be talking about networking. I'm going to be talking about how to, use social media to help you, aid you, assist you in your job search. So we'll take questions, all kinds of questions, how to set up your profile, LinkedIn SEO, whatever you guys are interested in learning out. It's going to be an opportunity for you to ask me questions. Nashville software developer, very good. Okay, looks like, oh, wait, got one more question. What is an example of a good connection note? Okay, this is a great question, Helene, and one that a lot of people should think about. When you reach out to somebody, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take away any type of a request for them to help you or any type of sales pitch, which a lot of people do, because those are not received well. A great thing to do, something to actually say, would be 1 or 2 sentences. You don't want it too long, and you want to give them a reason to want to include you in their network that helps them, right? Maybe it's, for example, if you're writing it to me, hey, Ira, I've read a lot of your posts. You offer really good information on LinkedIn, and I would like to join your network so that I never miss any of your future posts. I know it seems weird, but that will work way better than, hey, would you like to buy my software? Or, hey, I need a job. Help me find a job, please. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I do that on my website. Why do we need to connect on LinkedIn for that? But if you can give the person that you're trying to connect with an idea of how them connecting with you will help them. Look, I want people to support my posts. That's why I make the posts. I like the likes. I like the comments. I like the shares. So most of us do. So my point is, if you say something to that effect, that probably work. But if you have even something more specific, like maybe you have something in common, you went to the same school, you're in the same profession, that's the kind of stuff that I would recommend, okay, on a connection request. There you go. Cool. Nice to meet you, Barb. Don't know that we've met before. All right. Again, everybody, my name is Ira Bowman. So if you like this show, I do this twice a week. Okay, I do it. Today is Monday. I do it again on Saturday. The reason why I do it on 2 different days is because some people are not available during the week, and I get that. And some of you are coming from different parts of the world where, right now it's like 1:35 in the morning, and I don't expect you to stay up that late. So on Saturdays, I do it earlier for me. For me, it's earlier. I do it at 9 a.m. Pacific time on Saturdays. Now, I have other opportunities for you that can help you pretty much every day of the week except Sunday. So Mondays and Saturdays, I do the Job Seeker Show. On Tuesdays, I do speed networking with Mike O'Connor. We do that off of LinkedIn. We do that off YouTube and Facebook. It's on a website called Remo. But if you go to LinkedIn and search speed networking with Mike and Ira, there's an event page. You can find the link and sign up there. Okay. And there's like 85 people who have already registered. So it's going to be a good event tomorrow. And that happens 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. You can time adjust for wherever you are. Like that's 11 p.m. in the UK as an example. So I know it's late there. Sorry about that, guys. Then on Wednesday at 1 p.m., I have 2 different shows. They alternate. This week is Wednesday Cup of Joe with Joe Stepke. Then on Thursday, I have a roundtable session again on Remo. Again, you can ask me for the link if you'd like to join that. That is with Exit Your Way. And we are talking about how to be effective at networking, not just social media. We're talking about all kinds of networking. Like Foster Williams was talking about the job seeker networking events. It's that kind of stuff too. In fact, that's mostly what we're talking about, our in-person, local type networking that you can help each other out in person. And then on Fridays, of course, I do the Follow Me Live, which is to help you build your social media network on LinkedIn specifically. Okay? So that's where you can find me. My name's Ira Bowman. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have been great. And I only have to yell at, one person today, so that's actually not bad. I'll see you guys soon. I hope you find a job so fast. That's my goal, is to help you guys with that. Again, the free help is at projecthelpyougrow.com if you're interested and you're looking for, more insights, in depth, all different types of topics covered on the blog. The cover letter article is coming later this week. That's not there, but I have the ATS article for your resumes. I have the interview prep there. I have what to do if you're depressed or battling depression. How to find jobs incognito, how to find jobs in foreign lands, what to do if you're a fresher or you don't have any real world job experience, how to find a job. I've got all kinds of articles there to help you out. So, check it out. I'll see you guys again for the Ask Ira Job Seekers Q&A this Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific. Have a great day, everybody. My pleasure, Nora.